Folks, we are right in the middle of the Iran conflict. And so much of what we understand about Iran comes from our media and from our friends. And we don't really know. We don't really understand the culture there. What I have with me today, Ida Turan, she is Iranian and she really understands the mindset of the regime and the mindset of the people over there. I asked her on the show today because she's written some fantastic articles and we want to dig deep into what's really happening over there. And does Trump really have a plan? Some people say he doesn't. Ida thinks he does. Ida, welcome to the show.
Hi, Bill. Thank you for having me.
Fantastic. Great to have you here. Okay. Right now, we're in a conflict with Iran. It's been 47 years, and Trump is the first person to finally deal with this. And he was hoping it would be simple. It's not. War is never simple, right? And it goes back and forth with the MOU, and now we're back to fighting again. Tell us a little bit about your read on the mindset of the regime. Where are they coming from on this?
It was really, I really like that you said that it started for 47 years. It didn't start last year. It didn't start just recently. It's not Israel problem. It's U.S. problem. When I was growing up, I was at a school. They are obsessed with the U.S. It is death to America is everywhere on every corner you see it, and kids on a school we always have to chant death to America before going to our classroom. This is the level of obsession with U.S. and it is only with U.S. It is not with Israel. It used to be with Britain, but now it is not that. It is mainly about U.S.
Let me interject. Why do you think they hate the U.S.? What is it about us that they hate so? Is it they consider us infidels, or what is it about the United States that they hate so much?
It is about. This is, I think, Marco Rubio said a very, very beautiful speech the other day that they hate the winners. They hate America. They call it imperialist. U.S. is not the imperial. U.S. didn't really intervene with Iran affair. Shah was a great ally with U.S. and they were working very great. But this was something that the real imperials, the British, didn't like. So the whole revolution, the whole this Khomeini, this Velayat Faqih thing that was born was to kick U.S. out of Iran because it was and I believe the European powers, the other powers, they wanted to get U.S. out of this land, and that's why it started with all the narrative, everything was against U.S., calling it imperial and vilifying it. And it is really a absurd opposition. But it is because they are losers, they are communists, they are Islamists, and they hate seeing U.S. as great as it is.
Yeah, I can understand that. Well, from what I read from your paper, and you wrote a great paper, folks, you got to go to her feed and read this paper. It's really tremendous. But from what I read from your paper, the leadership puts itself forward as extremely religious, but maybe they aren't so religious after all. And the run-of-the-mill soldier, the IRGC soldier, is not well educated, extremely radicalized, extremely religious, and they use religion to control them. Is that right?
Yes and no. It is really a strange thing because my family is a very, very religious family. I came from a very religious Muslim family. I came even to Mecca twice. So, but it is not the same. Their version of the religion, it is really something made up, metastasized. It has been mixed with anti-imperialism, leftism. It is as I said, like it's not Islam. It's a metastasized version of Islam that is only good for brainwashing people and mobilizing them toward whatever they need to. So it is, you cannot call it religion per se. What they are doing is like, it is just a cult. It's a death cult that, and this is their ideology. It is a very nasty mixture of all the ideologies: communism, anti-imperialism, anti-communism. Everything is like, he created it as the, and worst of them was the 12-er Shia Imam thing that they are following, the hidden Imam. It is a very nasty thing, and it is really not really. It's completely made up. I can say, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Well, I wanted to talk to you about the IRGC because not everybody understands that. Nobody understands the power structure. You got the president, you got the Ayatollah, you have all these different people. You have the IRGC, and I've heard the IRGC described as almost like a mafia, and it's tribal. There are little tribes. It's not one unified thing. And I'm assuming there's probably some infighting going on right now as the war rages. Is that true?
Let me tell you first how this IRGC even created. When the at when the at the time of the revolution, Khomeini was in contact with Carter's administration at the time, and Carter administration, they convinced the army to stay away, and that was the reason they easily toppled the Shah. So they became paranoid. They were like, okay, we need another structure, we need another military to make them like coup-proof against the army. So they created this IRGC thing. And then after a while, after 2009, there was this popular uprising that made Khamenei the second leader. That made him very, very scared of losing power. It was very close to lose the power. So he started to even, he started to make this IRGC diversify the power. So the power is not going to be is not centralized in one cartel. And there were always this rivalry between them. So it was all because he was so paranoid of the creation, that the monster that he was creating himself. That's why it is, as you mentioned, it is like diversified. Like there are different cartels, there are different houses. I don't know how to describe it. That they are now fighting each other for the first seat, so for the power, and they are, and it is all about power. They want the regime. They really, I believe President Trump is tricking them to believe that he is not going to do any regime change. He's fine with them. And that's why it gives them the incentive to fight within each other. I think it's very,
Right.
very, very smart.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult regime change because we went there with Iraq. Okay, we tried to do that with Iraq. We went in there with an invasion force. We lost a lot of lives. A lot of Iraqi lives were lost. And at the end of the day, you just can't impose Western democracy in that culture very well because they've got a lot of divisions within their own country. The IRGC, a lot of divisions. And I've often wondered that this MOU deal that we had for Iran was so fantastic. If they would just give up their nuclear weapons, if they would just stop with their proxies and their terrorism, they could get $300 billion invested from their Arab neighbors. They could get $100 billion of assets unfrozen. They could ship their oil. I mean, it was the deal of the century just to get them to quit. And then, of course, they started attacking shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. And I was wondering myself, I wonder if that came from the top or if that was one of these IRGC groups trying to get power and they did that on their own. Do you have any idea whether that was really a top-down thing or is that just one of these, cartels doing their thing?
I believe it was, they are all unified. I mean, yes, these cartels are fighting each other for the first seat, but they still want the regime. They are all trying to keep the regime.
So they believe in the regime. They all believe in the regime.
They all believe in the regime, and this regime from the beginning, all they know is to taking hostages, taking like threatening others. They don't really know how to, like, this is something that it is in their nature. They are mafia. They are not there to govern the country. They are there just to take hostage. I mean, this was something that it was completely predictable, and I believe President Trump knew this is going to fail. He just wanted to expose them to everyone, that they are not going to be able. He was very ridiculously generous to them, just to show that they cannot hold this, and they are terrorists in nature. This regime is terrorist by nature.
Yeah.
And the thing about Iraq war, let me tell you that it is different than Iran. People in Iran are very, very unified, and they are very determined. They tried several times to topple this regime. It wasn't really, this whole.
So the people hate the regime. The people hate the regime, right?
And it wasn't really. It was something from the West imposed on us. It wasn't. We really think that because Shah was too independent, and they couldn't, like the European, and they couldn't control him. They created this monster to just have their, Russia now and China, and they're all trying to keep this regime alive for their own benefits. And we people are their hostage only. So this is very different than Iraq or Afghanistan. People are really, we don't need this nation building thing. We already have it. And we just need help to get rid of this regime that has prepared itself for 4 decades for this very day. They knew it is coming for them. So, and they are very, very effective in creating chaos and destruction. So President Trump, he inherited this. He knew this. And it is something that I want people to understand is, even for the Iraq, it didn't happen overnight. It started from the first war, first Gulf War. I don't know if you recall that. I'm just reading.
Yeah, I do. I remember.
Yeah, it started from there. They started to, erode the Saddam's military. They started to make him, like, disarm him little by little. There was this MOU in 1997 with Saddam. And then Saddam actually cooperated. He disarmed the nuclear weapon. He cooperated on everything, but he was just too unreliable partner to be in that region. So, but when it happens in 2003, it was already 10 years of erosion. They have to. What President Trump is doing is he's degrading the capabilities of the regime, and this is very, very necessary because people sometimes they are very impatient. They want a suicide like mission to go and free up Iran. This is just realistic. This is not how things works. That final kick that we saw in March 2003, it didn't happen overnight. It was 11 years behind it. So now everything in Iran, I think it is going on a very fast pace, but still we need to be patient. We need President Trump to use all the tools that he has to just degrade the moral, destroy the moral of the regime supporters. It is very, very important to do, and he's doing a great job, honestly. I understand it is also, as a byproduct, it makes other people, the people of Iran, and also other people, they are being very they're very disappointed. But it is war. It wasn't supposed to be fun and entertaining. So we are not his audience. His audience is a very, very vicious adversary.
Right.
And he's doing a great job.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, if we were willing to go in there with troops, we could take out this regime in a week. I mean, it would be not be difficult, but we don't want to do that because we had that experience with Iraq. It was sort of a forever war. And one of the things I was talking about on my uh, feed, my X feed, is that Iran has done so much to anger Saudi Arabia, anger the UAE. Saudi Arabia and the UAE have big armies of their own. And I was thinking one strategy might be, since Karg Island is such a linchpin here, that we don't want to destroy Karg Island because it's important, for the people of Iran once this thing is over. But we would like to take it, but we don't want to put boots on the ground, American boots on the ground. And one idea that I had is, I wonder, with all this bombing and so on and so forth, and the Houthis and everything, that Saudi Arabia and the UAE would really be willing to put together a ground force that would go into Karg Island, take it with U.S. air cover. And that way, because I think they're maybe angry enough where they would be willing to do that and to put their soldiers at risk. And I think that might have a big change on this whole war, because that's key to Iran. Do you agree with me?
Saudi Arabia is playing double games because um, they know that the U.S. is going to take care of Iran for their own, security. This is what they were doing for decades. So they want the regime to stay there. They sent people for the Khamenei's funeral. I mean, they are playing this double game. They never cut their support for the regime. They want Iran to stay weak. They want Iran to fight their cause, like the Palestine cause for them. And because Iran is going to be a very big rival for them, they don't want a independent and another U.S. ally
Right.
in the region. They really don't
Right.
want it. So
Right.
they are playing.
So you're saying Saudi Arabia doesn't want Iran to be strong and successful, because then they become a competitor for Saudi Arabia.
What is President Trump is doing? I mean, don't forget, this is all about the Abraham Accord. That's I was listening to one of the speech that Lindsey Graham he had on the MOU. He was saying that, okay, if this MOU fails, the next step is getting Saudi Arabia to the Abraham Accord. I mean, this is really, really important. Saudi Arabia is really, really getting so much. This perpetual war in the Middle East is very beneficial for them. They have to stop the game, drop the game, and come and work with US and share the risks, share the and also share the benefit. So we should expect them to change their behavior, but this is something that is, I think it is still on the board, that President Trump is trying to expose them and force them to behave somehow the way that UAE actually started to. UAE changed its behavior completely. UAE was one of the major lifelines of the regime till 6 months ago.
Right.
But now they are working with Israel, and that. But anyway, about the Saudi Arabia army, I think they are going to be. They have to work with the last IRGC proxy, which is the Houthis. And there is another Bab el-Mandab. There is another waterway that is needed to be protected. They are going to, and the thing is, but Pakistan, it is about Pakistan somehow, because Saudi Arabia and Pakistan have this pact to defend themselves, something like this, that if one of them gets attacked, the other one have to step in and protect. And Pakistan has a very great army and big army, and they can get rid of the regime President Trump mentioned something like that we have people that can do this for us. So let's see. I think he has a plan. He definitely has a plan.
Yeah. No, I think he does. He's a very strategic thinker. That's what he's best known for. Everybody says 4D chess and that sort of thing. He's always thinking many moves ahead. And sometimes he'll do or say something to get a reaction, to get people out of their comfort zone so he can go over here, So, well, I tell you what, this has been a very, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. The thing is about this 5D chess. I call it 5D chess. It's like it is president's moves are not compartmentalized. It is he just moved between these different dimensions, and that's why people can't follow it because they are
Right.
not aware of all the dimensions. But for someone like me that was following this news, that is Iranian, that know all this, I completely can read his mind that what he is doing. So what I would suggest to people is just stop following the fake news. This
Right.
is all, there is a narrative war going on and you are unfortunately the victims. Stop following the fake news and just start following the original sources like the White House, something
Right.
like this. And this
Right.
will your mental health will help, like, thank
Yeah.
you.
Well, I have, I just have faith this is all going to work out. And I think it's going to wind down long before the midterms, too. We're still quite a ways from the midterms. And I think the gas prices and all that will come back down before the midterms. And I think we're going to have actually a great victory. People are going to be surprised because the Democrats have lurched so far left with this whole socialist thing that, I mean, they're leaving half their party behind. But anyway, listen, we could talk about this all day. It's a very fascinating subject for me. But I just wanted to give everybody a chance to follow you on social media. Ida, how can they reach out to you?
Through my X account, I just posted a article for
Really good article, folks. Really good article. Yeah.
So it is Iran Ida Turan, Iran IDA Turan Turan.
Very good.
X.
Very good. Thank you. Okay. Well, listen, we may have you on again if this war keeps going. The conflict keeps going. Maybe on again to get an update from you. But folks, this has been Ida Turan. She is Iranian. She understands the culture there. She understands the mindset of the people. She has great faith that President Trump is playing some 5D chess here and that we're going to end up winning this in the end. Ida, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a nice rest of your day.
Thank you, you too.